Hello, welcome to this new channel. On this beautiful day here in Dartmoor, I decided to start a Ruth's Thoughts and Walks because I love doing longer form content, and I often go out walking and I'm listening to an Audible book and thoughts were coming to my head, and I thought actually it's a really good way of putting out there what I'm thinking, what's going through my mind. And recently, and I think this is probably what it's going to be chatting about today, although I am likely to digress, but recently I've been reading a book by Mel Robbins, the cyclist coming along in a minute, which is called Let Them. And I love how simple it is, and I think we can all relate to it. I am going to wait until these cyclists go past before I carry on this chain of thought. And this is something, right? Fear of judgment of others. Do I quickly hide this camera away and stop filming because people are coming? Or do I carry on filming and be brave and let them think whatever they want to think? And I think, I think that's a perfect example, because old me would have shoved that camera right away and hidden it. And when I say old me, I mean me at the beginning of this walk. But anyway, I'm reading a book at the moment called Let Them by Mel Robbins, and she talks in it about how what we think other people will think can actually stop us doing things that we want to do. And for me, that would often show up in a fear of judgment from others. Perhaps I'll hesitate before putting something out on social media because I'm worried what others might think. I've got so much better at this because I've realised you're not going to keep everyone happy. Not everyone's going to like you. And I'm kind of at peace with that. But there are still times, like when the bikes just went past, where I will be like, oh, those people are going to, like, what are they going to think? I've been wanting to go on other people's podcasts recently. I do my own podcast. I love it. I love doing it. I have other guests on there. And I was like, oh, it'd be really cool to go on someone else's podcast. But am I not asking them because I think they're going to think I'm too pushy? I don't mind if people say no, I think I'm cool with that. But maybe there's an element of that. But in the book, what Mel Robbins is saying is, let them. They might think you're pushy. They might think you're a bit weird for walking along chatting to your phone like this. Let them. Because ultimately, we can only control how we think, feel, and act. We can't change them, and spending a lot of time worrying about the actions and thoughts of other people is pretty exhausting in itself. So I've been thinking on that a fair bit, and how this can hold us back, and how actually, if I'm just being aware of the fact that I'm being held back by other people's judgment, is that in itself enough for me to go, let them? And I like it because it's simple. I like it because I can go, yeah, actually, they can think those things. It doesn't change who I am. And the other thing she said that I could really relate to is how the real power actually comes when we stop doing things and making decisions to make others proud, to make others think that we're capable, to make others like us more. When we stop doing it for those things and instead do it to make ourselves proud. So that doesn't mean that you're never going to choose to prioritize a friend, but you'll be doing it because it's something you want to do. So you're not going to turn into this absolute idiot and only think of yourself. It's just that the actions you're taking are things that really resonate with you, and you stop living your life for other people and instead you're living it for yourself. And that might mean saying no. Oh, there's a dog walker now. Oh no, a runner. Am I going to be able to be brave and carry on walking past, even though she might think I'm a weirdo, right? Let's do it. Let's put it to the test and let her think whatever she thinks. Although I actually know her, so I am going to stop it now. I was actually being brave, but I did know that lovely runner behind me who is running with a baby in the pushchair, and that's a topic for another day, I think. But it is that fear of judgment and what others think. And I think I got to the bit about the power that we have when we start doing things to make ourselves proud. But there is another little bit that she talks about, which is after you've said let them, because there is a danger, like you go, fine, let them think what they think, fuck them. It can become that, can't it? But we kind of don't want to do that. We need to kind of understand why it's bothering us. And then it's let me choose the actions I can take so that I feel proud of them, but not so you're running away from the situation and not dealing with them. It's so that you're choosing what feels right for you rather than putting a bandage over it and moving on. It's not a fuck 'em, it's a let them, and then a let me. So there we go. Actually, and I think the next thing I want to talk about after chatting to that lovely lady there is something that's come up a couple of times recently. So she's just had a baby, and obviously they're waking in the night, they're tired, and so on and so forth. And people will be so excited to come and see your baby, and they'll tell you, oh, you look fantastic, you're doing so well. And inside you can feel like you're dying. You're tired, you're lonely, things are really hard. And I had a very similar conversation with a lady who's been really poorly. She's got cancer. And she said the same, that when she sees her friends, they're all trying to be lovely and they're telling her how well she looks. And she's going, actually, I feel like shit. I feel like utter shit. And I'm not saying that we should go over and be like, you look awful today, because I think obviously we're trying to be kind. But I think it is just being aware that sometimes people aren't feeling great. And perhaps those people, because they don't want to offend you, they're scared of what you will think, aren't thinking, oh, let them say that, whatever. They're actually thinking, I wish I could tell them what I really feel. And I know that it's a bit of a kind of tangent that I'm going on, but it's just been on my mind a couple of times recently. You know, we're letting people feel what they feel, but it doesn't mean that we stop caring about what we say to others and how that makes them think or how that makes them feel. We're still the person that makes us who we are, you know? We're still that person. And that means, for most of us, that we do care what other people think. It's just that it doesn't need to define how we live our lives. That makes sense? It really is going to be a random thoughts. I mean, it is an absolutely beautiful day, and I don't think every one of these walks will be like this, will they? But it's nice to get out of my office. I'm technically working because I'm doing this with you. But yeah, it's a lovely, lovely day. And I've just been smiled at by a beautiful baby. Oh my gosh, she's so cute. I think the shadows were playing on her face. Then she was smiling. And then it's always good, isn't it, when you're out and about, to not just be talking all the time at a phone, but to take a moment to look around you. Sometimes when I'm out on this walk, there'll be a buzzard in a tree, or maybe even a fox will run out in front of me. If I was in a car, I wouldn't see those things. If I'm running, they will often happen. Actually, weirdly, just as I said that, a buzzard just flew overhead. So it's nice to go out and just be, I think they call it an awe walk, where you go out and your main intention is just to be filled with awe, to look around and just go, oh my goodness, what an incredible place, what an incredible day. To look at the sky and just see blue, which will always make me happy. I am in a vest top and it is March. When I was walking along here the other day, I noticed that the frog spawn had all been laid. And when I said the other day, I'm talking about like a few weeks ago, so well, kind of beginning of February, and I was like, what are they playing at? Haven't they learnt? They should wait until after all the frosts before they go laying their spawn. Anyway, frog spawn is not there anymore, and I doubt many tadpoles have survived that cold blip of weather that we get. It's still frosty overnight. I'm sounding so British now. Actually, that was something that my son said to me recently. I have two autistic boys, Hector and Arthur, and they are 13 and 15. And anyway, Hector doesn't like it when I say it the other day, because the other day could mean any time. I said, oh, I was talking to you about that the other day. It drives him mad. Well, I've decided that there is a phrase that he says, or a thing that he says relating to time, that I also don't like, and that is soon. I might say the other day, referring to at some point in the past. But he says the other day, no, he says soon, meaning any point in the future, by all accounts. He says soon. I go, oh, could you do whatever it is? And he goes, yes, soon. No, it either means not at all or at some point. And then he gets upset because I nag. I nag him, he says, but I've given him time. What does soon mean? Like, if he doesn't know what the other day means, I don't know what soon means. Look at this incredible view. I'll see if I can show you behind. Look at that. What a place to live. And I'm also there in my mind thinking about what else I can talk to you about, or whether the podcast ends there, whether this episode of Thoughts on Walks just takes a pause for a moment. I think that's probably going to be what I do, so that you're just not too much random waffling. You can feedback on that. There you go, I've just proven something to myself. Stop for a moment, let your head clear, and your thoughts become a little bit clearer, which is something I see all the time, right, with the women that I work with. You can feel like you're stressed and you're busy and you don't have time for anything, but actually your thoughts become so much clearer when you just step away for a few minutes and gather your thoughts and go, well, actually, why is this really bothering me? Why am I feeling like this, and what can I actually do about it? So I had a moment there where I just turned off the camera because I was like, oh, I don't actually know what else I want to say. Because thoughts are always coming to me when I'm walking, so I was kind of surprised that I didn't have anything to say. And I literally turned off the camera for a couple of minutes, a few minutes, and then suddenly I was like, oh, everything's feeling a bit clearer. And I really do think that we don't put enough emphasis, maybe, on stopping for a moment. We're always feeling like we need to be doing more, especially when we're pursuing goals like fat loss, especially when we're in midlife and we've got, I don't know, children that are annoying us or expecting us, or have got their own issues that they're dealing with, or work is really busy. And it can feel like we've got no way of controlling the situation. And I've got check-ins to do. They're coming in today and they're on my computer and I'm looking forward to doing them. But actually I'll do them better when I get back from this walk, because I'll have had a moment to look around and enjoy the scenery. I'll have had a moment to chat to you guys, I guess. Anyway, I'm happy to be out here. I'm grateful for the opportunities that I have, that I live in such a beautiful area. Until next time, when I'll be back talking about various other random conversations, thoughts that I have when I'm out walking. I would say I do thoughts when I'm running. I'm not sure I could talk like this when I'm running. Anyway, it's been a pleasure, and I'll look forward to sending more thoughts your way.